And don't forget to order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, an excellent book that you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, available in both PDF as well as paperback form. For the Vikings in this ball game, they have to get physical with the Saints wide receivers. I believe right now the Saints receivers are not a physical bunch, and if the Vikings are going to have success defending the passing game, they have to throw off the timing of those receivers, and it starts by getting in the face and getting physical with guys, even with the tight end Jimmy Graham. And I also look for Jerick McKinnon to get more carries this week. This is the guy that has breakaway type speed, great acceleration, and also can be an asset in the passing game. And on defense, I would combo cover Cooks, take my chances one-on-one with Marcus Colston and also Jimmy Graham. Try to take away Cooks because this is a guy that does a lot of damage after the catch. So you want to combo cover him, frustrate him, and take your chances playing one-on-one with those other receivers. And for the Saints in this ball game, you always want to take a look at Peyton's play calling. He has to find the right balance of running the football, throwing the football, when to run, when to throw. I think he's a little bit off as far as situational play calling is concerned, and it has to improve. And the pressure must be turned up to 10 this week versus Matt Castle, who has skittish pocket presence. I think that's how they can generate turnovers, get these guys off the field, and be able to put the ball back in the hands of Drew Brees. And the Saints have to learn how to finish. They were in position to win both the Falcons game and the Browns game. They have to be able to finish in their 4-minute offense, and 4-minute defense has to step up and play A+ ball if they want to come away victorious. Now, here are some in-game adjustments you want to watch out for in this ball game. Now, when Minnesota is on the field, you want to keep an eye on how they get Matt Castle into a groove passing the football. He struggled last week mightily versus New England. I believe he can have a bounce-back game versus the Saints secondary, but how will they get him into a groove will be key. And also defensively, how will they pressure Drew Brees? Quietly, the Vikings have an assortment of guys that can get pressure on a quarterback. Chad Greenway, Anthony Barr, the rookie. I even like what I see out of Scott Crichton. If they can work him in there at some point in time, they have creative pieces to get pressure on Brees, and that's going to be key if they want to win the ball game. And obviously, you have to find ways to take away Jimmy Graham. So how they plan to do that with a strong side linebacker, with the strong safety Harrison Smith, another guy that can also get pressure on Brees. But how they plan to take away Graham will be key and ultimately decide how well they're able to play defense. And for the Saints in this ball game, you want to keep an eye on the amount of carries for Kyrie Robinson. Mark Ingram will be missing a month of action with a broken hand. So when you look at Kyrie Robinson, he's probably going to split carries with Pierre Thomas, but I do believe Robinson will get the bulk of the carries. So you want to keep an eye on how much they give him because you want to see if the Saints can strike that balance. And up front, defensively, the different games and stunts they can run up front to stop the run. Quiet as kept. The Saints had problems stopping the run later on in the game versus Atlanta, and all last week versus the Cleveland Browns. They have to get better up front. And you also want to keep an eye on the offensive tempo of New Orleans. Do they open up the game with their 4-minute offense, or do they try to slow the game down and shrink the ball game, putting a lot of pressure on that Vikings offense to maximize their possessions? Offensive tempo will be something to watch out for amongst the other two in this ball game for New Orleans. The X factor in this ball game for Minnesota is Cordero Patterson, the outstanding wide receiver. He's a legit game breaker that can score as a returner, receiver, as well as a runner. So any way they put the football in his hands, he's going to have to make plays, and he's probably going to make a big play in this game. So how often he touches the football will be key for this Vikings offense. And the X factor for the Saints will be defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. He has to get back to his aggressive ways to what we saw last year from this defense. Now, here's the thing. You bring in Jarius Byrd to be a ball-hawking, playmaking free safety. Why not get over-aggressive up front and allow him to be that ball-hawking, playmaking free safety? You can get aggressive on the corners. You can send that extra linebacker on to the quarterback. And also, they have to find ways to get their best personnel on the field. Like I said last week and said before, Stanley Jean-Baptiste and undrafted rookie free agent Brian Dixon are guys that should be on the field and could help the Saints out tremendously. But Rob Ryan has to get back to what he did last year, which made this one of the best defenses in the league. I like the Saints in this ball game. I believe what you'll see defensively this week from New Orleans is a more aggressive approach. They'll find ways to get pressure on Matt Castle and disrupt the timing of the offense. Offensively for New Orleans, I look at what the Saints bring to the table. They can spread the field. We know they can run the football when they choose to run the football. I think you'll see a more well-balanced approach and aggressive defense, more so like what we saw last year from the Saints.
What's up, fantasy football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook for all of your starts, sits, fantasy football notes, news, and tidbits, tune into our podcast, Football Game Plan Starting Lineup, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, which is located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.
And don't forget to check out Football Game Plan's NFL Wraparound live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan, where we give you all of our late-minute and last-minute notes, news, and tidbits and thoughts on each and every game on the NFL schedule. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Viking fan forums and Saint fan forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.